Greetings to you in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Today marks exactly 4 months ever since my beloved mother, our beloved mother, was taken from us. Well, it seems like yesterday. It's still unbelievable, yet it's true. I've walked this journey of grief, bereavement, mourning, and whichever other term that you may ascribe this to. But no matter what they say, I feel there is nothing, there is no word so far that can describe or that has the description of the pain that, I don't know, the pain that comes with loss of a loved one. No, I've looked for that word. All of them seems to be, the existing ones at least, they seem to be shallow. This pain is deep. This pain is stingy. This pain, I don't know. But still, God is good because it's been a long journey. I remember when I started, I didn't even know whether I would finish the day. Actually, by then, finishing a day was an achievement in itself. But what can we say? It's now 4 months, 4 good months without mom. And all I can say is God is good. So to everyone out there who is grieving, to everyone who is going through this pain, to everyone who has ever experienced this pain or who will experience this pain, because we are in a world of sin, I can't promise you that you won't feel it at one point. But whoever is going through it now, I've dedicated this video to you. One of the things that have helped me go through this journey is because I had some people, a few friends who kept telling me what I should expect. I remember when mom, I don't want to use the word died, but it's true, when mom died, I had very many confusions. I felt sick. From nowhere, this would come, this would come, this would come. And somehow I reached a point and I felt like I was also dying. But thank God for those people who kept telling me, no, we also feel sick. That sickness will go. So I'm like, okay, so it's normal. When you lose someone close to you, you fall sick. And because of that, I kept on moving. I started dreaming of mom, like having those dreams, seeing her, and I would ask them, did you also experience this? And I would say, yes, we did. So it kept me moving. So that's why I've decided to make this video to anyone who is grieving today, to tell you that, to give you an experience of what it feels like. Just in case these things are happening to you, you don't have to be scared too much. You don't have to panic. You don't have to feel like it is something unusual. Yes, it could be unusual to you, but it is something that you can expect. And so that when you see it, you don't have to panic a lot. Grief, what can I say? Psychologists say it is that emotional or physical or social response to your loss. Loss can be anything. You can lose your phone, you can lose anything. But what makes it special in this video is it is referring to death, to a loss of a loved one. And there is another term called mourning. Mourning refers to that process that you will have to go through, like what people go through, like what I am going through to adapt to the loss, the things that I may do because I am grieved. And these usually are influenced by the social, cultural, and religious beliefs. There are things that I've not been able to do, yet other people do them because of my religious belief, because of my culture, because of my society. So mourning, the way whatever you do in this period is usually influenced by those factors. And there is this other word, bereavement, which refers to that period after death. So just have been this bereavement, 4 months in the bereavement, that state of sorrow that you go through after a loved one is gone. It is a process, it is a healing process, and time spent here depends on many other factors. No one should come and tell you that, you know what, for you, you're doing it wrong or you're doing it in a wrong way. Oh no, your time is your time. Your experience is your experience. You're so unique, and so your grieving experience is also unique to you. So no one should threaten you. No one should tell you anything. Just in case you're going through this, you don't have to say, why are you not crying like others did? Why are you not, why are you taking long in this period? Because you are unique and you're different. The circumstances that surrounded the death of your loved one, the kind of relationship you had with that person, and many other factors, as you shall see, all determine how much time you will spend in this. But I'm praying to God that it doesn't take so long. And people have always told us that you're exaggerating things. I remember when I had just lost my mom just 2 weeks. A relative told me, you think you're the only one who is pain. No, we are all grieving, we are all in pain, but you don't have to feel like it's only you, my friend. I don't want that to happen to you. Just know that your time is your time, okay? Your experience is your experience. But when it feels overwhelming, then you need to seek support. There are types of grief. For example, the anticipatory grief. This is when the death is expected and the survivor has time to prepare to some extent for the loss. Of course, death is never prepared for. You cannot say that I am now ready. Even if somebody dies, I am ready, I won't feel this, I won't feel that. Oh no. But however, there are some people who have had a chance to see their beloved ones fall sick, and the death was expected. Somebody has been with an illness for some time, for years, and they were suffering too much, and somehow you felt like, oh, maybe they are suffering too much, let them rest. Recently, my uncle, grandpa passed on, and someone, a relative, a close relative, said, oh, he was suffering too much, let him rest. Okay, that is anticipatory grief. The death was expected. The person had suffered too long, and for sure I feel, maybe they had matured. Your grandpa or your parent is above 90 years, and so you feel that them staying alive is just to continue in pain. So that is another type of grief. There is also a traumatic kind of grief, when there is something about this death itself. Death has occurred, but it's not like a normal or a usual death. For example, a violent one, where there was a crash or some kind of fight or something like that, or a flood came and very many people died at a go, or it was a very violent accident, something like that, okay? Or it could be an abrupt death. You were with someone just a few days ago, or you talked to them last night, and they go to sleep, and before you know it, by morning, they are gone. Like, you wonder what exactly happened. How come it happened? What went wrong? That kind of something unusual is about this kind of grief. Or you had an insecure attachment with the deceased, or a conflicted relationship with with the deceased. For example, somebody died, but before they died, you had a quarrel. Okay, maybe you had a misunderstanding and you never sorted out things right. So when this kind of death happen, eh, you may feel like somehow you're responsible, or actually it can blow off your mind and you wonder how come this happened. People have quarreled, and before you know it, the next day the person died. And when that happens, people may even blame you, thinking you're the one who caused yourself. But even if people don't blame you, actually you would be blaming yourself, thinking that you are the cause of this kind of death. But there is also what we call, this word is very tough, but I will try, disenfranchised grief. Okay, I'll try to explain to you what it means. A loss that you can experience, or a loss that people experience and is not socially acceptable or sanctioned. For example, you had an affair with a married man and that married man dies. Okay, that kind of grief you're going to have is not the same as a normal grief, or the one the wife or the children are going to experience. All of you are going to have the same pain, but yours may not have, because it was not socially acceptable. One, you had an affair. Very few people knew about that affair. Actually, no one knew about that affair, and that means you are not going to be invited to participate in the funeral rites. And actually, you might even be hated by the deceased family just in case they knew about you. You get that kind of experience, and it's common. It happens. But even in that, there is one that is socially negated, in that the loss has occurred, but the society does not treat it as serious. For example, a miscarriage. You know, you've lost a baby. You were expecting a baby, but then you had a miscarriage. But you know what? Society doesn't take that as serious. So when they see you grieving, they're going to say, oh my God, what is this? Like, it's too much. It was just a miscarriage, you know? But somebody's life has been lost. It could be an abortion, where you just said, I don't want this baby. You abort and you don't let any other person know. Yes, you might have physical other ailments, but still you will feel that loss of something, someone. Or it could be a loss of a pet, your lovely dog, a cat. You know, even that can be a serious matter to some people. But there are those losses that are socially unspeakable. For example, if your person died by suicide, you know, or they died because of AIDS. It's not a death you can go on talking about. Like, actually, the whole family can be so quiet about it. Like, nobody should ever say anything about this. How come that somebody committed suicide and they were close to you and you knew them? So that kind of pain, that kind of grief, this loss carries some stigma with it. Just imagine, God forbid, your husband died, but they committed suicide. First of all, the family, other family members, the society are all going to be looking at you like you committed a sin, like you are the cause of it. What happened? Like, had you stressed the person? So this kind of grieving widow is going to be there with pain, but it's not something you can speak about like, oh my God, my mom died. You cannot just say committed suicide. It's not easy unless you're telling someone who is so close to you. And because of this kind of grief, the mourner or the person who is experiencing this, who has lost, may not receive the social support that people offer and receive after a loss. And you know the importance of social support. You people, I want to send my greetings and gratitude to everyone who is reaching out to somebody who has been grieved. It is a tough experience, and if you're taking your time to check on them, to greet, to see if they are well, may God bless you abundantly. you're doing a noble work. And no matter how death happens, whether abrupt, anticipated, social unspeakable, or in any other way, no matter how death comes, as long as it comes, it is always painful. It is painful to the mourners. The mourners can be the close people, the friends, the family. It is just too painful. And actually, someone said that language does not yet have a word strong enough to describe the pain of losing someone you love. And I honestly believe them. Language doesn't have that word yet. This kind of pain, this kind of loss deserves another strong word, which I'm trying to find, but I haven't found. And someone called Alport once said, he was quoted saying, each man is like any other man. Each man is like all other men. Each man is like some other men, and each man is like no other man. Okay, what does that mean? That there is individual differences. My experience, yes, we've lost the same person, but my experience could be different from yours. Okay, we may lose a parent just like how we lost our mom, but I'm telling you, out of all the siblings, each one of us is suffering in a different way. Why? Because we are different. One may seem so strong, another may seem so weak, another, whichever. This pain is, I don't know which word to say, but it is unique to every individual. Okay, I remember when we were burying, my youngest brother was somehow strong. Like, he wasn't crying, he was holding all of us, and people were telling us, do you see your young brother crying? Can you imagine your young brother is not crying and you're crying? Which kind of person are you? Yes, we are different. That's all I have to say, and I am not sorry about that. So when you're grieving, when death has occurred, the response, just as we defined earlier, they could be emotional. Of course, there are emotional responses to grief. There are physical sensations. There are mental, or what we call cognitions, and there are behavioral. But at one extent, I also want to add the spiritual category. Why? Because even though it's not documented anywhere, I felt it. At that point of time, I wondered why, of all people, God can allow this to happen. Actually, for a few days, I hated everyone who told me about God. I felt like when people say, oh, sorry, it's a pity, oh, God has willed it, I felt like they're just not understanding it. I was struggling to find out why can God, with all his power, accept this to happen? And someone tells me that, what, it is God's will. What is exactly about the God's will? Okay, so I feel, but the way I felt then, the way I was feeling then about God and this whole thing is different now, but it was there. Actually, there is a best friend of mine I had by then, and when I informed her about my mama's going, she told me, oh, God knows the best, but he never makes a mistake. Let her rest. I've never talked to that friend again. I don't know. And I honestly feel I don't have the energy to talk to her yet. But I wouldn't understand why in my pain you can even bring that God knows and let them rest. I didn't understand that. But still, I was telling you about the categories, all the responses you're likely to face. So in case you're going through any of this, do not feel panic. Okay, do not panic. It is normal. Like, another person has gone through it before, and another person will go through it sometime later. Of course, that's not our wish, but this is the reality. So when the death has just occurred, there are a number of feelings you're likely to face. I have faced a number of them, but not all of them. And you may not go through all of them, but just in case you feel any of them, you don't have to feel the world is coming to an end. And the first one I can say is that sense of numbness. You know, a lack of feelings, especially at the beginning of this period. You know, I remember that day very well. It was around 1 when I made a call to Dad, and Dad told me Mom has rested. I didn't feel anything at that time, you know. I just kept there looking like I am dreaming. I was moving. I was not understanding or feeling anything, you know. And God is good that He allows these things to happen. He created us with that kind of protection that when you have a flood of thoughts and feelings which could be overwhelming, your mind can black out, like you stop feeling or you stop thinking, and that's what we call numbness. There is also sadness, you know, and this is the most common feeling. Some people try to avoid it by being so busy, doing excessive activity. But you know what? This sorrow doesn't go away. Actually, it comes back once you get on your bed at night, okay? So it's important for you to allow yourself to go through this sadness, to go through this pain. Because when you keep on playing with it, trying to avoid it, it does not go away. You actually postpone it to the future. There is anger. It's usually very confusing, because at one point you can be angry at the deceased for dying and leaving you alone, but it can also be towards the doctor who never did well enough to protect your person. It could be anger towards your relatives, probably any relative who never cared so much. It could be anger towards yourself, like you ask yourself, why didn't I do this? I wish I would have done that. Or it could be anger towards God, like how I had, like the anger I had. First of all, I remember those days when the grief was still so fresh. And the first thing I thought, like when my siblings told me, I asked, why didn't you tell us, you know? Why didn't you do this? Well, I remember at some point I was very angry at Dad. I felt like if he had taken Mom to hospital early enough, if they had given her some kind of different food, if they had done this, and you know, but there is this kind of pain that you're feeling. You have lost your dear ones, but again, the people around you, all the society, are also blaming you for the death. Now, just imagine. Because I sympathized with him. At first, I was angry with Dad, but then I said, now, what could he be feeling? Because after that, after the burial, rumors of course keep moving, and you could hear some people saying, but can you imagine, she died even when the daughter was not there? Like, was I supposed to be there all the time? Or, you know, it's a very confusing kind of situation for everyone. So when this kind of anger happens, it is important for you to do reality check, and you don't allow the anger to be towards people. Because I remember that hospital, even after I don't feel I want to go back, but you know, the doctor did his best. It's not like he did it intentionally. So this anger can be very confusing. It comes from two sources. One, a sense of frustration that there was nothing you could do to prevent the death, but also that regressive experience that occurs. Have you ever been in like a mall or a market and you went with someone and out of the blue they disappear? So you start panicking, you get the anxiety, where are they, where are they? Or maybe you went with a child and the child disappeared from you. That kind of panic, that kind of anxiety you get. Actually, when you see them, you don't say, oh, where have you been? I'm happy. You're like, oh my God, where have you been? Don't move again. In other words, just saying, don't leave me alone again. So that kind of anger is common, but it needs to be identified and appropriately targeted to that disease. I want to tell you, when death is to happen, there is nothing you can do. So it's not the doctor, it's not you, it's not the other relative. Death happened because it had to happen. Okay? If this anger is mishandled by displacement or directing it towards other people or blaming other people, you're trying to say if somebody can be blamed, if somebody had done this, maybe death would have been prevented. Okay? You could actually think if the neighbor, if that, any kind of person you may blame, and so you feel cheated, but not knowing exactly who cheated you and what they cheated you of. So it is a risky practice, turning the anger towards others or towards yourself. If there is any person you would have blamed, it would be the deceased. But I also believe nobody has ever decided that they may die unless they have committed suicide. So there is also guilt and self-reproach. You can be guilty about not being kind enough, not taking the person to the hospital. Guilt. You wish I would have done this, I would have done that. So when this happens, please check again. Is it true? Sometimes this guilt is irrational unless you actually caused the death, or maybe you murdered the person. There are helplessness, feelings of helplessness. And so if it's a wife, you can ask, how will I be able to take care of the children? I remember my dad was asking, now you have gone, what am I going to do with our children? That kind of helplessness. When you feel it, just know it is normal. Sometimes there is shock. As I've also said, there is anxiety. You're not sure what is going to happen. How will you be able to take care of yourself? How will you be able to survive without that person? Actually, you can also feel that you were also going to die any minute from now. Like you feel that kind of, you get a heightened sense of personal death awareness because you've seen somebody else has died. So it could be you or you. So you have that kind of anxiety. What if I'm also dying next? And another feeling I have had, which has really hurt me so much, which has been too much for me, was that yearning, a strong desire for the disease. For all my life, I had grown up, I had left home, but there is no time I had ever felt like, oh, mom, I really need you. But this time, okay, I really felt I wouldn't do anything. I felt like I really needed that embrace from mom. I would make my orders, but I wish mom was here. I would have told her about this. So that kind of yearning for the disease, in case you're feeling it, please know it is normal. Okay, there is that kind of loneliness. That loneliness, oh my god, it is either social or emotional or both. But the social loneliness can be worked on with social support. Like if you have people around you, you may not feel it too much. But the emotional loneliness, that one, no matter how many people you have, it cannot really help so much because it is due to a break of an attachment, and it will go with time. You will feel fatigue. I remember those days I would really find it so hard to wake up and get out of bed, to wake up and do anything, even as simple as bathing. I neglected that. I would just be there sleeping, just feeling I have no energy. Okay, but to some people who have really had their people suffer, you could have a sense of relief, like, oh, I have suffered so much. Or if that person was very bad to you, you could feel relief because they have gone and you would be okay without them. But however, others could say, oh, she had suffered too much, or he had suffered too much, so let her rest. So for all these feelings and any other you may face, these are normal unless of prolonged and excessive intensity. I'm going to make 3 videos from this for this presentation, and when this is done, I'll surely come with another one. There are also other responses like the physical sensation, that hollowness in the stomach, the tightness in the chest, the pressure, the warrior, if you are a woman, you can have abrupt periods, even your body will respond, but also your mental capacity will also, that thought pattern will also be a bit challenging, because you will have disbelief, you will have confusion, you will have a sense like you say, I don't believe it happened, I can't believe it's true, even up to today. Sometimes I believe, but sometimes I'm like, real mom, you're not there, I can't believe it. Like, it's not easy to believe, yet it's true. But there are other behaviors, sleep disturbance, appetite loss, like sigh, restlessness, you can withdraw from the society, you feel a loss of interest in the outside world. Okay, so if you had any program with somebody who is mourning,